Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS. If you're new, welcome, and welcome back, KS family. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin currently down 2.72% to 38,446. Ethereum down 4.88% to 2542. From my 30 plus years in financial markets, I explain the smart money mindset to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, gaining real wealth in the process. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. Thank you for being a part of our globally extended family. I appreciate you being here. If you're going through a life pullback at the moment, please know that our community's love and healing thoughts are with you. There's always hope, you're not alone, and the sun will come out again. Rule 138, all investors become traders every time they buy or sell. Investors focus on future promises, but traders focus on price reality. The two, when merged, are literally unstoppable. Crypto technical analysts scientifically track investor attention. Investor attention is measured by price, which is the reality, not future promises. One thing that crypto technical analysts do is that they scientifically track price momentum. They first initially mark up their charts, then go to look at outside trends, go into the crypto market and look for timing, because opportunities reset daily, just like in life. Then they have the right mental attitude. They've mastered their fear, they've mastered emotional control, and they have a positive excellence life trend. They understand the secret rules of wealth and how to make money and how to keep it and how to avoid losing it. Only then do they pull the trigger on buy or sell. Crypto technical analysts know that there's a big difference between the loss of money zone, zone 1 and zone 2, the make money zone, zone 3, and the keep money zone, zone 4. There's different skills and different rules in all of these different areas. Crypto technical analysts are trained to know them. Crypto technical analysts need to understand the outside trends of the market. That's why they need to look at the stock market. All investors employ what's called investment substitutability. They can put their money into the stock market, into the bond market, into gold, into crypto, into property, into businesses. There's a lot of people, even banks. Maybe that wouldn't be a good idea, but they can do it. The concept is that money can go to alternate investment vehicles. Crypto is just one. The stock market and the bond market are very interrelated. The stock market, around 120 trillion globally, is just a little bit smaller than the bond market. Just think about it. The stock market and the bond market are very highly correlated. What makes anybody think that crypto can abandon the correlation between stocks and bonds? It would need to get up to at least 120 trillion to even have that capability, but the stock market and the bond market can't escape their own correlations. When you hear about decoupling, be really, really careful. I'll go through very quickly and just summarize what's happening here. When we look at the VIX, and Masterclass students, you'll get my live chart in TM6, we can see the fear gauge is going literally up the wall. Fear gauge, VIX, doesn't do this normally. This is really very different kind of behavior. When we look at the fear increasing, we can see economic confidence decreasing, economic concern increasing in terms of bond prices, and the price of gold has been rallying on geopolitical risk with Russia. The US dollar demand has been increasing. Bond yields are showing risk off. Inflation driven by oil prices. Oil prices are just going parabolic. Inflation and the 5-year break-even inflation rate is going parabolic as well. Looking at the correlation between Bitcoin's price action here in gold and the Dow Jones index, we can see that there is correlation, and there's always a gravity that plays out between the main markets and all global markets as well. When we see the Dow Jones coming down, if we get negative price momentum, we have very good solid support at 31,688 as well as 28,890, even coming down as low as 25,646. For the stock market, that would be a crisis, but for us in crypto, it's just another month, basically. What I mean by that is that if we come down in the stock market around 24%, that would be like the end of the world for people in the stock market. For crypto, it's every other month. We see this volatility. It's just normal, and we seek to make it our friend. That's why crypto technical analysts focus on the internal battle, their psychology. Crypto technical analysts are very holistic. They have a focus on maintaining a positive excellence life trend through integrity, decency, kindness, inner and outer peace. A lot of people would say, what's this got to do with making money? I have to tell you, after 3 decades plus in the markets, it's got everything to do with making money. Rule 570, psychology sets profitability. Many people ask me, what kind of returns can I get from the crypto market? I always ask, what's your psychology? How well do you handle variability? Have you made volatility your best friend? Crypto technical analysts are very, very strong people, and they're very decent people as well. They believe in strength and boundaries, courage and honor, purpose and fearlessness. These things are really, really important to guard your mental strength, to increase your mental strength, to deal with the laws of money. The crypto market is unlike any other market on the planet. It's really fast moving. And when we see economic concern increasing, actually as crypto technical analysts, we get really excited. We know that this could mean downward price pressure. For example, we could get a drop like this, and that would be overextended in terms of the crypto market as well. One thing the crypto technical analysts understand, when price comes down, for example, say the Dow Jones was to come down this percentage movement, 23.85, when it recovers, it's not going to recover 23.85%. Most people think if it comes down 23.85, it will recover 23.85. That's simply not the mathematics. It will recover greater percentage, 31.35%, and the lower things go down, the actual better things are. For example, if the Dow Jones was to come down 30.57%, when it retraces back, it would come up 44.14. Going even further on this concept, if the Dow Jones was to come down 42 and then just retrace back to this previous price, what would it go up? It would actually come up 72.86%. You can see the more it goes down, the more it comes up. That's why we make volatility our best friend. Crypto is full of volatility, and that's what we love. Crypto technical analysts actually make this negative volatility their best friend because crypto comes down very hard, very fast, but it also comes back very hard and very fast. It's not like the stock market. In the stock market, you may have to wait a year or more for things to repair. In crypto, it can do it in a couple of months, oftentimes far less. Crypto technical analysts also have a very specific knife-catching mindset. When you see the Dow Jones coming down like this, a lot of people would just be selling into this, expecting the Dow Jones would be headed towards zero. This is exactly the time when the mental strength of crypto technical analysts kicks in. We would be buying this. For example, just here over 28 days, nearly a month, in around the 2nd of March, the start of March, the Dow Jones came down 38.4% because the world shut down. This was the COVID and US liquidity crisis. Over the span of the next 245 days, price just came back to its original level. Now, just a little bit in excess of it, we think came down 38.4%, but what did it do? It came up 62.73%, and then it kept on going. What black swans like this do, they don't basically stop the market from doing what it's doing. They just elongate it. They just make it last longer. If we get a black swan event because of the things that are happening with Russia, and it's a really big issue as well, we could get some kind of negative price action like this. But remember, black swans don't derail bull markets, they just extend them. And we've had so much particular reinforcement of this resistance line. We literally need to get a dip down to break through this resistance line, and this will take all of crypto with it. Always bear in mind rule 225. Bitcoin cannot escape the stock market's gravity. I know a lot of people say it can, but a lot of people have got it wrong and they're in zone 1 and zone 2. That's the way to lose money. You don't want to be in those zones. You want to play the probability. Looking into the Bitcoin price action at the moment, it's 38,302. We had a buy level at 38,004 and 2 cents. It reached down to $38,005. Naughty Bitcoin. We have a particularly good support line playing under here at the moment. That 38,000 level is quite good in terms of holding price, and we can see that, and that's exactly what price has done. What actually happened quite a few days ago is that we were coming up to levels of resistance around 45,092 up to 47,127. The probability is that we were going to hit these particular resistance lines and pull back. And this upward support line is actually a really, really good support line. Does it mean that it will end there? We've seen price go below the support line, so don't be at all perturbed if it does actually go below. Masterclass students, you will get my live chart in TG34. When we look at the NASDAQ 100, this green line here, we can see from the futures that actually we're expecting downward price momentum. We would expect this to play into Bitcoin at the moment. One thing that's always really important to understand, when all the market sells off, Bitcoin is selling off too. All the markets sell off, not just a few. We can see that the shorts have been reducing their positions. They're now getting into a position where they might actually start increasing their positions. We'll keep an eye on this. When shorts get liquidated, we generally see a catalyst for upward prices. This is really important to understand. That's why we monitor the shorts. We don't actually short, we don't engage in any derivative behavior because it's just simply baked into crypto. If you buy it and you own it, you can actually see the volatility that's inherent anyway. You don't need leverage trading. Friends don't let friends leverage trade. If you leverage trade, you're likely to get your account completely blown up. Another thing to bear in mind, many commentators say that gold and Bitcoin move in opposite directions, and we can see right at the moment they are. We can see the gold price moving up, Bitcoin moving down, but does it always hold? No, it doesn't. We can see gold moving up, Bitcoin moving up. Sometimes they go into synchronization and sometimes they go out of synchronization. Be very, very aware of simplistic rules. To do this, as crypto technical analysts, we keep rule 114 in mind. Markets penalize certainty. If you are certain, absolutely certain, that certain rules exist between different components of the market, say gold and Bitcoin, you will be penalized. Many people also say that there's an inverse relationship between bond prices and Bitcoin. When we see bond prices overlaying, it's kind of like gold. We've seen the bond prices come up, Bitcoin come down, but sometimes bond prices come up and Bitcoin comes up as well. A lot of commentators want to give people certainty, but they really pull the rug from underneath them when they do so. Literally, zone 1, the panic zone, and zone 2, the blame zone, are addicted to certainty. Whenever you find yourself wanting certainty, you already know that you're throwing yourself into zone 1 and zone 2. Probability is really different, and that's where we make the money as crypto technical analysts. We have patience. We have rules, lots and lots of rules. We have methods to govern our behavior. We buy on red. When people are in zone 1 and zone 2, they buy on green. We buy on red. We have a completely different mindset. We also make three-way decisions. That means that we know what we will do and we have integrity to keep to our word. If price goes up, goes down, or sideways, we know what we're doing. Unfortunately, when people enter the market, they basically have one position, it must go up, and the other two, it going sideways or going down, causes them to panic and have a lot of stress. Please, whatever you do, get out of zone 1 and zone 2. If you have any thinking there at all, it's just so stressful for you. It's not good for your health. Go into zone 3 where we can make consistent money. It's all about patience and rules. In zone 1 and zone 2, people don't have patience. They buy at market. We never, ever, ever buy at market in zone 3. We place buy orders down in the market and wait for price to come to us. There's some talk making its way around various social media outlets that Bitcoin and crypto will decouple from the stock market. Please don't pay any attention to that. What typically happens, and we can see the markets are under a form of duress, and that duress, as crypto technical analysts, we look at and we can profit from. Crypto technical analysts can make money in any market, bull market, bear market, consolidation. It's incredibly irrelevant what the market is doing because we just focus on the price reality of the market. What you can actually see here, all the green lines are the US market indices. This white line is the MOEX, that's Russia's market. You can see when we had the COVID problem and the US liquidity crisis and all the markets sold down, they all sold down, including Bitcoin. Bitcoin came down very, very hard. What happens is that the markets often recover quite quickly. And when we have sustained moves down, like what we're seeing here, this is just part of the market's natural flow. This is just price moving in a wave. Many people, when they get into the market, they can see price moving down and they basically say it's going to zero, or price moves up, it's going to the moon. It's always moving in a wave. If we get some kind of sell-off event caused by a Russian black swan, everything will move down together, including Bitcoin. This is exactly the reason why we need to look at the markets. We need to see if the markets are getting overheated or getting subject to stress, because if they are, and we see something like this, we want to position ourselves to take advantage of it. You can see that the Russian ruble, the currency of Russia, against the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, the Great British pound, the Chinese yuan, the Swiss franc, and the Australian dollar, it is crashing throughout the world. This is because of the economic sanctions that have been leveled against Russia. As crypto technical analysts, we always stack probabilities, and we can't just look at one thing and say, okay, we know what to do here. We need to stack as many probabilities as we can. What you can see is actually the price of gold going up, the US dollar going up, bond prices going up. This is actually quite unusual behavior. It's showing inside the market that there's a tremendous amount of fear, and you know how big the US stock market is and how big bonds are. For that reason, it's really good if we prepare for any downward price momentum and we understand how the percentages go. When things move down and then move back up, they move up by a much higher percentage. Please let me know in the comments, are you bullish or bearish on Bitcoin at the moment? Where do you feel price might be headed? We had some fantastic discussions in the comments yesterday on YouTube. You might like to check those out as well. It's really good to discuss things. It's like we have a paid group open to everybody just through visiting YouTube. Looking at the crypto fear and greed index, we had an enormous amount of positive vibes. A lot of optimism entered the market as we saw this big spike up in price. That's now been almost fully reversed. This is the thing to understand. when things spike up, they can become unmaintainable. And we can see that in the price of oil at the moment. Generally, and we know price is always moving in a wave. It's going up and it's going down. That's why it's incredibly important to be able to mark up your charts correctly. Over the past 24 hours, there's been about $160 million worth of liquidations across approximately 55,000 positions. And we've seen over the past 24 hours, about 77% of those liquidations were long liquidations. And we can also see that we're starting to get a reasonable volume, but it's really quite low. And yesterday's volume was in fact tiny. It rivaled Christmas Day. To just give you an understanding of how small it was actually just a little bit lower. Looking at Bitcoin options expiring at the end of March, we can see from the put-call ratio, things are basically quite positive, and we can see a lot of interest in the $50,000 mark, even up much further, all the way up to 400,000. A thing that catches most investors and traders off guard, and we know all investors become traders anytime they buy or sell, so they should have the knowledge of how to do so properly. Rule 45, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. I often say, if you want to look at your beloved alt and ask the question, what happened to my beloved alt? The answer, Bitcoin happened. An incredibly important thing to keep in mind. Look at what happens with Bitcoin. This downward action, this upward action, this downward, upward, downward. How does it play out, for example, on Ethereum? Bitcoin's downward action in alignment with Ethereum. You can see that blue line. That's Bitcoin's price action. Look at how closely it mirrors. Ethereum mirrors Bitcoin. That's because Bitcoin has a gravity. What's happening here with Binance Coin? Sharp sell-offs bring the alts into alignment with Bitcoin. This is a really important concept to understand. When we see sharp spikes up, it doesn't necessarily mean that the cryptos will follow. Here, this blue line above Binance Coin's line is showing that Bitcoin has more strength in this particular case. And we can see Bitcoin has greater strength in terms of Binance Coin's relative price momentum. XRP, we can say the same thing playing out again. And just recently, what we see is XRP has more positive price momentum than does Bitcoin. And that's because a bit of news is circulating at the moment that the SEC's case against Ripple may collapse. Fantastic if it does. It's really important for the crypto industry that the SEC does not win, because what will happen if the SEC wins? It will go after other cryptos and try to destabilize the crypto market. Let's have a look at ADA. Cardano has been under severe gravitational stress, as has Solana. When we look at Avax, it's pretty much in alignment with Bitcoin's directional movement, sometimes a bit stronger, sometimes a bit weaker. When we look at Luna, under gravitational stress and then took off, there were a lot of positive news stories inside Luna that helped fuel this particular rally. And as we see Bitcoin coming down, we don't see Luna coming down to the same degree, but be aware, Bitcoin's gravity will sooner or later kick in. Just keep your eye on this big sell-off at sort of basically the end of January. What we saw, all alts follow Bitcoin's price momentum. Please be aware of that. If we're to see a particular sell-off in Bitcoin, we would expect Luna to dive, and that's important. But we don't light switch in or out of anything. We just bear this in mind before we place our trades. That's why it's so important to have the knowledge before you actually pull the trigger on your buy or your sell order. I wanted to share some cryptos that are particularly good in terms of their price momentum. Of course, Luna is doing really well, but please be aware, when price rallies up like this, especially in times like this, when there's enormous fear across the main markets, it may also spike down. Just be aware of that. Sharp angles reverse, that's another one of our rules. Always good to keep in mind. Syscoin is being quite divergent, but when we actually look at Bitcoin's gravity, when we see Syscoin coming up, Bitcoin is coming up, the interesting thing is that we can get an over and under exaggeration of either upward or downward price movements, but it's always a gravity. Even here we saw Syscoin sell off. That over and under exaggeration is really critical to understand. Let's have a look at Avax. Avax is still under a degree of resistance, but it's looking fairly healthy in comparison to others. It's following Bitcoin's gravity. If Bitcoin recovers and does well, we would expect Avax to do the same. Even though there's a lot of duress in the main markets, we know the concept of certainty. Markets penalize certainty. If everybody thinks the markets are going to go down, in all probability, they'll rally. Just be aware of this. That's why, as crypto technical analysts, we have so many rules. We need them. Gala is following Bitcoin's gravity pretty much to a ping. Sand also doing a good job, just looking a little bit weaker at the present time, as is Solana. NEAR has an under and over exaggeration, and we can see NEAR has had quite a bit of strength recently, but no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. As Bitcoin sells down, NEAR will sell down. It's exactly what's happening with all the alts at the moment. ILV was looking good and now it's falling out of favor. And this is the thing to note, that cryptos do fall in and out of favor all the time. Crypto technical analysts understand that opportunities reset daily and there are always things to look for inside the crypto market, no matter if it's going up or down or sideways. It just realistically does not matter. Cosmos is another strong project from a price momentum perspective. Decentraland Mana is also strong. Rose also strong. Axie Infinity also strong, but we can see it's under gravitational duress at the moment. Rose is coming into alignment with Bitcoin's gravity. We can see LRC under gravitational duress in terms of Bitcoin's gravity, as is IOTEX, but they're still strong projects. Harmony just coming into alignment with Bitcoin's gravity at the moment, as is Arweave. We had some great discussions in the community on YouTube specifying different levels that people were interested in. I think we should make that part of what we do every day. I think it's going to help a lot of people. But of course, with all things, just always do your own research and seek to gain the knowledge of when to buy and when to sell and how to mark up your charts. It's really, really vital. It's kind of like being a doctor and not knowing how to maybe actually diagnose a patient. You just can't walk into a doctor's office and put on your white robe and say, "I'm a doctor," without the knowledge. But unfortunately, many people do that in financial markets because they say, "I got the qualification, I've got some money in my pocket." The problem is, without knowledge, you won't have that money for long. Another great way of finding the market's focus is to look through Binance derivatives. I've left a link in the description of this video. I'll tell you how you can actually interpret this. Just pay attention to this particular percentage. What it actually shows is the amount of positive or negative price pressure on a particular project. When we look at Bitcoin, it's about negative 3.5%, but Ethereum is more, at around 4.3 to 4.8%. That means that Ethereum is coming down harder than is Bitcoin. And as you scroll down further, you can actually rate this. You can change the rankings to see what's under the most negative price momentum. We had a bit of a discussion, on social media about Phantom. Two of the lead developers decided to drop out, and that's caused a bit of a storm. You can see negative 19.8. This is a lot of negative price momentum. In fact, it's the highest. And Latentry is another one. Lit, ENS, Cartesi, dusk, you're starting to see the negative price momentum playing into these particular projects. When we go the other way, we can see Waves is literally the only one that is coming up at the moment. This can be a really neat way for you to identify just on the day what is happening. And typically news stories can govern these negative momentums. I'm going to start including much more news on the crypto space for you. You may have heard the news about Phantom and Yearn Finance developers, key developers, leaving the projects. When looking at the price momentum of Phantom and comparing it to Bitcoin, we can see Bitcoin's price is actually throwing gravitational bias on Phantom at the moment, and it's doing exactly the same thing with Yearn Finance. So how seriously should we take this? Basically, Anton Nell and Andre Konya said that they've decided to close the projects that they're working on, and quite a few of them will terminate on the 3rd of April 2022. Before we think it's the end of the world for Phantom and the other things that Andre is involved in, let's look back to March the 3rd, 2020. Founder of promising DeFi project abandons the toxic cryptosphere. Who are they talking about? They're talking about Andre. We can see that Andre wasn't happy. Basically, he said that when something went wrong, he had no marketing team to deal with the barrage of misinformation criticizing his project. And now with the project out in the wild, he's decided to leave the community for good. This is what Andre's been doing for quite a while. Let's fast forward to August 8th, 2020. Exclusive. Yearn Finance, Andre Konya, is tired, broke, and close to quitting DeFi. Basically, Konya was unhappy because he didn't have a job. He spent a lot of money on building these platforms out, protocols out, and paying for audits and hosting. And he said he had $20,000 worth of debt and a lot of negativity leveled against him. So we fast forward to today, and Andre's at it again. YFI Phantom tank after Andre Konya, Anton Nell claim that they're leaving crypto for good. As far as Yearn Finance is concerned, Andre hasn't worked on Yearn Finance for over a year. And even if he did, there are 50 full-time people and 140 part-time contributors to back things up. When we think about a lead developer basically saying that he's going to pull the plug on something and threatening that for over a year, of course risk management just automatically kicks in. Yearn Finance, according to DeFi Llama, has $3.02 billion locked within it. This is real money, and those people can't afford to lose their investment. And when there are billions of dollars at stake of innocent people's money, of course the project must look to other people to make sure there's continuity. We do it all the time in corporates. It's called succession planning. What James Hancock said, a former Ethereum core developer, Konya is especially just shutting down web pages that plug into contracts. Technically anyone can deploy a UI, a user interface to these services, but it doesn't mean anyone will. You need legitimacy behind it, and Konya had the legitimacy. So we can see that Yearn Finance has about $3 billion in total locked value, and Phantom has about $7.22 billion. It's good to keep in mind that Curve Finance has about $17.73 billion in TVL. It's possible that we could see a reshuffling of Phantom and Yearn Finance of the money out of there into other DeFi protocols. It would be fair. But of course, the whole concept of DeFi is decentralized finance. This actually exposes a bit of an Achilles heel in terms of crypto. If the core developers disappear, what happens to that particular crypto? That's an important thing for us to discuss. What do you feel in the comments section? Please let me know your thoughts. When I look at these charts, I can see Phantom just obeying Bitcoin's gravity. Yearn Finance is definitely weaker. It's under gravitational duress, but many cryptos are under that gravitational duress in the crypto market at the moment. CRV is under gravitational duress itself, and Luna is actually doing really well. But of course, it's coming down in line with Bitcoin's gravity. Many people are caught off guard by crypto's volatility. Crypto technical analysts are not caught off guard because we always make 3 in advance probabilistic choices. We have a set of guidelines. What will we do if price goes down, goes up, or goes sideways? And we always stack probabilities and look across the entire market. The Phantom Foundation responded to Andre's exit and said that basically Phantom was not a one-man team, meaning that the exit of a single developer would not derail the project in any way. How do we do analysis on this from a crypto technical analyst perspective? The first thing we do is that we realize this is not unusual for Andre to do. He threatened to quit in March of 2020, then on the 7th of August 2020, and now just today. So what happened back here in, for example, the 3rd of March 2020? We can see that when it comes to Yearn Finance, it didn't even exist. And when we look at Luna and Curve, they didn't exist either. Let's go forward a little bit to around the 7th of August 2020. What do we notice? CRV didn't exist. Yearn Finance basically just started, and Luna didn't exist. This is the concept that we always see with crypto. Crypto is really young. Andre did pretty well when he talks about exiting on March. That was just before the whole world went into a black swan event. What happened on August 8? Because Phantom was quite young at that stage, what was the impact of Andre saying, "I quit"? You can see for yourself that meant pretty much nothing. There was a little bit of a retracement going forward about a month, but followed by a rally. It didn't mean much, if anything. So we could ask the question, what should we do now as crypto technical analysts? We don't subscribe to fear. So what do we do? How do we apply our knowledge? The first thing we note is Phantom is coming down to previous levels of support. We may go down a little bit lower, but we would expect buyers to step in around these levels. But we of course have to keep an eye open for the broader market conditions. Having run many IT companies for many years, I'm always aware of key developer risk. This can be a very big problem, and all owners have to deal with it. When you come to the Phantom Foundation, of course they knew the risks. Every IT owner knows the risk. They would have made contingency plans. I believe them when they say that Phantom will go on. So let's do a bit of a thought experiment. Let's put our date down here to see what is actually happening. And we'll just compare this in a week to see what actually eventuates. So at the moment, we've seen Bitcoin move down. We would expect the market to be red. And that's exactly what we see. No alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. Even these green ones are coming up, but they've come down. And this is the nature of crypto. No alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. That very rule alone can save you so much money. We can notice that Phantom is coming down hard at the moment. And in DeFi, Keeper is coming down hard as well. For all the DeFi experts in the community, please reach out through the comments and share your feelings and thoughts on what's happening at the moment. We'd love to hear from you. One thing that's really valuable for crypto technical analysts is that professionals are not emotional. Crypto technical analyst is a profession like a doctor, a lawyer, a computer scientist, a teacher, an engineer. They have the knowledge and they are professionals, and you can learn more about it and how to become a crypto technical analyst by visiting www.cryptotechnicalanalysis.org. I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video if you think it will help others. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We would love to have you as part of our globally extended family. Thank you very much to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers, and also to the CTKS ambassadors for mentoring Masterclass students. And of course, a very big thank you to you for watching and being part of our global KS family. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video, such as the link to the CryptoTradingKS Masterclass. Please seek out an ambassador to get 80% off. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there, my friends. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.